Hello, my name is Bernd Stahl. I am professor at the Montfort University in Leicester in the UK. And on the Human Brain Project, I'm responsible for leading the work package on ethics management. I'm also representing ethics at the directorate level of the Human Brain Project. In this short presentation, I would like to give you an overview of the activities of the Human Brain Project. I will introduce what we plan to do in the SGA2, so in the phase running from 2018 to 2020. And I will roughly follow the tasks that we're planning to undertake for that time. Most of this work is already a continuation of the activities we're engaging in now. So it's very similar to what we're doing during the SGA1, so between 2016 and 2018. And for most of the activities, there are certain lessons to be learned and issues of relevance for, in particular, researchers on the HBP. And I will highlight those as I go through my presentation. As a final preliminary remark, just to let you know where ethics management is located in the structure of the Human Brain Project, we are one of the work packages of SP12, so that's sub-project 12, which looks at ethics and society. So this is one of the 12 main work packages, and what we do looks specifically at the questions around managing and practical implications of ethics. Okay, so what does ethics management do? So overall, the work package is an umbrella for all the activities related to managing ethical activities. It constitutes a link between the various scientific and technical SPs, the management SP, and the ethics research activities in the HBP. We have a team that works on coordination of those various activities. I myself am also the ethics director, and therefore, as I said earlier, represent ethics on the directorate. We produce standard operating procedures, and we also publish on issues of ethics management. One of the tasks, and the first one I want to go through in a bit more detail here, is the support for the Ethics Advisory Board. The Ethics Advisory Board is one of several advisory boards that the Human Brain Project has. And as the name suggests, it specifically looks at ethical issues. The Ethics Advisory Board is comprised of independent experts from a variety of fields that cover the various research areas of the HBP. And it's closely linked with the various SPs. So each Ethics Advisory Board member is linked to at least one SP, and in those SPs also linked with the ethics rapporteurs, about whom I'll say something in a few minutes. The Ethics Advisory Board reports directly to the main governing body, so they report to the Directorate, the Science and Infrastructure Board, and where required also to the Stakeholder Board. They can become active on request from the Human Brain Project, but they can also become active on their own initiative. What's important for HBP researchers to know is that the EAB, the Ethics Advisory Board, may help assess POR requests and research misconduct allegations. What does that mean? POR stands for the point of registration. This is a website, and you see the link to the website at the bottom of the screen here, where anybody can raise concerns with regards to ethical issues of the HBP. So this can be done by people from within the HBP, but also somebody from the general public who are concerned about anything that's of relevance, of ethical relevance. When a POR request is made, so if somebody goes to this website, fills in a survey and says what they are concerned about, this is looked at in the first instance by us in the ethics management team, and this may then, depending on what it is, go out to the Ethics Advisory Board for further dealing with. Research misconduct allegations, so if there is a suspicion that somebody may have broken the expected rules of conduct, may then also go out to the EAB for further advice and suggestions on what should be done about them. The second task of the Ethics Management Group is running and supporting the Ethics Rapporteur program. Ethics Rapporteurs are representatives from the sub-project. At this point, each sub-project has at least one, some of them have two, ethics rapporteurs. These are individuals who are our main points of contact. So where we have a question about ethical issues in the SPs, We talk to the rapporteurs, the Ethics Advisory Board members talk to them, and of course they can come to us if they have any questions about ethics. We meet them on a regular basis, and there tend to be meetings between the Ethics Advisory Board, the rapporteurs, and the ethics management team, which on occasion is also open to other people who are interested in particular topics. The main point of the rapporteur program is to enhance understanding, make sure we all know what's happening. If you're an HBP researcher and you have any sort of ethical questions, then the rapporteur is probably the best first point of contact. If you don't know who your ethics rapporteur is, look it up on the website. If you go to the main HBP website, there's the ethics management section, and on that there's a list of all the rapporteurs, and you can identify who yours is. The third activity that we're undertaking is compliance management. This has to do with gathering the approvals for the various ethics-related activities or ethics-relevant activities of the HBP. So if you're doing any research, any activities that require approval, such as typically animal research or research with human subjects, but also potentially other things that have implications for data protection, then you need ethics approvals. We do not give ethics approval. We are not in a position to do that. But your local ethics committee, whether that is in your university, whether it's a national or local ethics committee, they will be in a position to give you ethics approval. And we in ethics management collect those and make sure that they link with the tasks that are described in the description of action. We, in that function, also interface with the European Commission. We have regular ethics reviews. And the ethics reviewers from the Ethics Commission want to see approvals. They want to make sure that everything that is done in the HBP is done appropriately. And we collect those approvals and make them available to the ethics reviewers. In preparation for the SGA2, so for the next stage of the proposal, we need to make sure that all HBP members fill in their, what is in effect a self-assessment survey. So we ask each task leader to go through all the various ethical issues with regards to the task and let us know whether any of them apply. And if so, we ask them to submit the approvals. This is something that needs to be done in preparation for the proposal, but it also is something that needs to be in place during the time of the project. So at the moment we have these approvals for the SGA1 phase. We're collecting them for the SGA2, and the same will be applicable for the next phase as well. For the next phase, for the SGA2 phase, we would like to have a stronger emphasis on ethics-related data governance. The HBP, as a big data project, needs to have processes in place to ensure that the data is dealt with appropriately. And that means that we have to have a handle that both the input of the data into the HBP and the eventual use of the data is done in a way that is compliant with regulation and legislation. So this means that, for example, for data that comes from suppliers outside the HBP, we know that it's been collected appropriately and following ethical standards. But the same is true for use of data, data use agreements, licensing, and so on. This is certainly not exclusively an ethical issue. So there are important scientific aspects to this, but we contribute to this, and at the moment I lead the Data Governance Working Group. The Data Governance Working Group is developing something that we've called the Data Policy Manual. It's a collection of policies with relevance to data. And anybody using data or making use of the facilities of the HBP4, either uploading data, downloading data, processing data, needs to be aware of this and should have a look at the Data Policy Manual, many aspects of which are also incorporated into the systems already. We are aiming to do more ethics management outreach and dissemination. That means we want to reach out to the scientists of the HBP. And actually the video you're now seeing is an example of that. So we want to make it clearer what it is we are doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And we also want to look at reaching out to groups beyond the HBP, given that the HBP in many respects is setting standards of big data neuroscience projects. We want to look at collaborating with the US Brain Initiative, the Japanese, the Chinese, and other initiatives to make sure that the way we deal with ethical issues, we understand them and address them is mutually comprehensible to various other types of stakeholders. So with regards to the outreach, we are planning to have a set of activities going on. So there will be workshops on specific issues such as, let's say, privacy impact assessment, privacy by design, how to deal with animal data, and so on. So the key ethical issues will be dealt with. We will also provide more videos like this one on specific issues on the HBP website. Then I think this is finally, we have developed and are in the process of continuing to develop standard operating procedures. These are descriptions of how to deal with specific defined areas and issues. And you see here a list of the ones that we have at the moment. So we have, for example, used the mechanism of standard operating procedures to describe how we do the compliance management, describe how we do the point of registration. The work of the Ethics Advisory Board is described in there. We have guidance on informed consent, on research integrity, on animal data from third countries, and so on. So SOPs are documents which are typically written by us, which are then adopted by the HBP as a whole through the governance bodies, which become binding or at least relevant for everybody within the HBP as the point of, as the cornerstone of how to deal with particular issues. The SOPs that we have are also all available on the website. And if you have a particular question, for example, if you don't know what you need to provide for your compliance management check, this is all described in those documents, and we would urge you to have a look at them. This is my quick overview of the ethics management function. There will be more detailed descriptions of all the individual components here. But I hope that this has given you some sort of insight into what we're doing. If you have an ethical concern, please don't hesitate to use the POR, the point of registration page. Otherwise, please don't hesitate to contact us if you're interested in collaborating, if you are seeking for advice or support. If you think that there's something that we should look at, we're very open. We hope that this short video will help you to understand what we're doing, but we also invite you to interact with us and help us do our job better. Thank you very much.